Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Let's Get Ready Network. I'm Adelia. This is my buddy Brandi. We're here to do something a little bit different today. Something I'm fairly certain none of the guys on the channel would have been interested in. Doing the Lifetime original Christmas movie, Christmas at Plumhill Manor. Brandi, how you doing today?
Doing good. I thought I would, because we're doing Christmas movies. I've gotten my little Christmas jammies and cozy. So, that's what you do when you watch these Christmas movies. You cozy up and you get all nice and cuddly, and we watch a Christmas movie, which I usually don't do until after my birthday, November 30th. But I saw this movie and I thought it was a cute little premises and saw the commercial for it, and I figured, hey, Adelia, I got an idea.
So this is the first of a few of these types of movies on Lifetime or Hallmark or whatever channel it happens to be on that we're going to be reviewing this holiday season. Christmas at Plumhill Manor. It stars Maria Menounos and Kyle Pryor. It's the story of architect from New York City, who's Margot Stone, played by Maria Menounos, who unexpectedly inherits a manor house in the countryside of England. Kyle Pryor plays the manor house's gardener's son,
Mhm.
groundskeeper's son. I don't remember if it's the gardener or the groundskeeper. And yeah, I don't like, let's just get this out of the way. I don't like Lifetime movies. I don't like Hallmark movies. This one was pretty good. I don't like these movies generally.
I like
It froze, didn't it?
it did a little bit, but I think we're back now. I do like occasionally watch them because I'm just Brandy and I like those movies, so I generally get drawn to them, and I seen this and I was like, Adelia. Now everybody knows me. I didn't want to be on camera for things, and now here I am because of Adelia. she she got dragged into doing it, and then she dragged me into doing it a little bit, and now I get the bug, and I'm like, okay, I got an idea. Let's do Christmas movies because it's Christmas time, and I want to get in the Christmas spirit. And it's just been a tough few years for me, and I'm just trying to get myself back in. And I figured, why not just jump into these things and just get the little Christmas spirit going for us? And I think we made a good decision because this movie was cute. It had she was an architect, and like Adelia said, that she got this house from a family member that she didn't know because her father had passed away when she was young, so she didn't know about her great aunt Victoria in England that had this manor, and she was the lady of the manor, and now she has to go to this house and see it. So it starts off like she gets this gentleman comes over, and he finds her and gives her this information about her great aunt and gives
Yeah,
her a
she
bottle of
totally
wine.
thinks he has the wrong Margot Stone.
Yeah,
She's
the
like, "You
wrong
can't
person.
possibly be talking about me."
No,
He's like,
not
"No,
me
I'm
at all.
quite certain it's you."
Not me at all, but yeah, it's you. So he tells her about her great aunt, which she's on the phone with her mother at the time, and she's like, "Mom, did you hear all this? Like, this is crazy." Because it is kind
Yeah.
of crazy. You have your life, and all of a sudden, Adelia, what if somebody just came up to you? Hey, your great aunt over in England left you this. I want you to go on this
It'd be
adventure.
yeah, it would be pretty unbelievable, especially since this came with conditions, which
Mhm.
is you can do whatever you want with the house, but first you have to stay there for a week before you make your decision. And he had already bought her a plane ticket for the next day. Like, lots of things about this, I could understand her just being like, "What is
What?
happening right now?"
Like, what is going on? I mean, I would be like, I don't know if I'd be jumping in that right away though. Here's a
Yeah.
plane ticket for you. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going, so I'm getting kidnapped. But but good for Margot for sticking it out and going on this adventure that her mother told her to go and have this adventure, because that was her father's favorite aunt growing up.
Yeah,
So he's like, okay, I guess I'll do this. And then
yeah.
the adventure ensues. We
So
get
she
to the
gets
house.
get well, first they get to the airport where she's
Mhm.
picked up by Jackie, who is hysterical. Jackie's one of my favorite characters in this
Yeah,
movie.
she was. She was
Uh,
my favorite too.
she's the driver for the lady of the manor.
Driver slash everything.
Everything else, because she's one of the only employees left at the manor.
Mm-hmm.
She also has a job at the pub in town, we find out. She's the director of the choir, we find out. She's playing Father Christmas at the Christmas market, which is just so perfect for Jackie. So we meet Jackie, and Jackie, she calls her Marg. She doesn't call
Mark.
her Margot, just Marg. And you can tell she asks her, "Is that okay?" And before Margot can say no, Jackie just keeps going with it. So it just becomes okay.
I love it. I loved it. She's just going with the flow and calling her doing whatever. She's a Jackie of all trades is what she was called, and I loved it.
But
Go ahead, you froze again. I was trying to fill in.
yeah. No, 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 no. Jackie takes her to the house, and Margot looks around, and it's a wonderful house.
Mhm. It is.
There's a moat. Like, there's all kinds of things about this house. Like, this is how I picture a typical English manor house
Mhm.
in the countryside.
Oh yes, it was beautiful. The landscape when it was all beautiful. But the house is old,
It's old, yeah.
and you go to turn the water on, and it's brown.
Yeah.
So a little. She goes, "You just gotta leave it run for a little bit, you know, the old pipes." Oh, I remember that back in the day.
Yeah. But, as she's walking around the house, she sees out the window a guy carrying, like, 2 jugs of some sort of
Liquid.
something. I don't know what it was. We didn't know what it was at the time. Uh, Jackie tells her that she's gonna go into town and work at the Black Horse pub and invites Margot to go with her. So Margot ends up at this pub, and here comes in the same guy with the same jugs, and we find out that this is Plumhill cider that he makes on the estate.
Mhm.
And he's first off, the guy, I don't know if he's the guy that owns the pub or who that other guy was, but he
Uh-huh.
clearly
Nick.
tries to hit on Margot.
Nick.
Nick?
Nick.
Yeah.
I first of all, I had to laugh because when Alfie came in and she called. Actually, when Margot came in, they called for Jackie. Then then she called for Nick, and the way they just yelled for each other,
Yeah, just yelling. Yeah.
which I thought was funny. So that was my little. It's just the character. I love her. I love Jackie.
Yeah.
Jackie is definitely my favorite.
But you could tell that the guy that Nick, I
Mhm.
guess he owns the pub, it seemed
Mhm.
like to me,
Mhm.
was hitting on Margot. She asked for a glass of Chablis,
Mhm.
and he runs to get her a glass of wine, and he does this weird, like, pour thing where he's got the bottle up here and the glass is down here, and it's spilling everywhere, and
Yeah, I
she's just
definitely would
looking
have gave
at
him
him
a
like
look.
he's crazy.
Yeah, I would have given him that same look. Like, nobody.
Yeah.
Nope, not impressive.
Th Then, she takes a sip of the wine after Nick goes to find something, Jackie? I don't know, and, she doesn't like it,
Mm-mm.
and that's when Alfie says, "You should try the
I
Plumhill
got some.
cider."
He's like, I got something for you.
Yeah, and, they're talking, and, that's when Jackie comes in and introduces them, and we find out immediately that Alfie is not happy about the fact that Margot is there at
Mm-mm.
all.
Mm-mm.
He,
Nope.
um he, found out that, she was coming, that she was an architect, did a little
Mhm.
research into her, uh, and doesn't like that she tears down old buildings to build new modern ones, which we
Mhm.
saw a little bit in the very first scene of this movie where she's selling somebody on tearing down an old building and building like a skyscraper thing
Yeah, with 5 people in attendance.
with 5 people in attendance at the, grand opening.
That grand opening.
Yeah.
So then we get there's a trivia match going to be happening. So we meet some of the locals there, and they tell them, "Hey, we're gonna do trivia. Match them up with people." So Alfie gets
Yep.
put with a partner, and Margot gets put with a partner, and then a little competition ensues there. And who's gonna win this big prize that nobody knows what the prize is?
Nobody knows what the prize is, and then Alfie's answering questions for his team, Margot's answering questions for her team, and the other 2 are like, "Well, we're just, like, sitting here."
One guy said, I stopped answering at question 3. And
Yeah.
they were like on 20 something.
Yeah. So, they're tied,
Mhm.
and, Jackie's like, "Alright, the winner of this" the other guys ditched them, so it's
Yep,
just Alfie and Margot,
because they wanted to
and,
see who if there was a winner. They wanna know
they
who
wanted
the
to see if
winner is.
there was a winner. So, one final question, how many birds are there in the song The 12 Days of Christmas? And so, Margot's trying to count, and Alfie's like, "Don't forget the 5 golden rings." And, she's like, "Those are rings, what are you
Rings.
talking about?"
Yeah, they're rings.
Um, and then so she gives her answer, I forget what it was, 180 something or something like
Mhm,
that. He gives his answer, which is in the 300s,
mhm,
and, he wins because
mhm,
they're all birds.
mhm.
I have to admit I didn't know that
I didn't know
about
that
that
either.
song.
I didn't know that either. I was confused. I was like, "Well, how many" I was starting to count, and I was like, "I'm done." I'm like, "You
Yeah.
win." Automatically, I would have given up.
Yeah, like, you the thing about it is that since you get everything on every day, you have
Mhm.
to add it all up for every day, and I couldn't do that quickly in my head,
No,
so
no,
that's how we
definitely
arrived
can't.
at the 300 and something number.
Yeah,
'Cause I was like, "That makes no sense" at first, and then I realized, "Oh, yeah, every day they get, like, everything."
yeah.
So, um and so they Alfie wins, the Jackie says he won, and since his partner ditched him, also enjoying the prize will be Margot, as she's the 2nd place, runner-up, and, the prize is some, cooking of a Christmas pudding with one of
Mhm.
the older ladies in town.
The local one.
Yeah. And, she's the older they show the older lady, she's all excited, I forget what her name is. She's all excited that they're gonna have this, like, Christmas
Mhm,
pudding thing,
mhm,
and, they're talking afterwards, and, he's like, "You can have the prize, I'm not good at cooking," or whatever, and she's like, "Well, I don't even know what a Christmas pudding is, so you can have it." And then Nick comes around with the mistletoe, and Alfie sees the mistletoe and had witnessed the exchange between Nick and Margot earlier and knew what Nick was trying to do, so he kisses Margot.
mhm. And after doing that trivia, they each had a few of those
A lot of the cider.
the the share of pints of that cider, yeah, so w it's flowing, so you're gonna get into the mood and like, "Ooh," like when like, and a kiss happened, which I was like, "Wow," within the first half hour, this is great.
I was thinking, "Well, that's a little fast."
Yeah, but
But
usually that's what it is. That's why I said, "Ooh," within the first half hour because it was a little fast for a kiss, but I can see why, because a mistletoe was being put around, so and he was trying to keep the sleazy bar guy from kissing her, which there
yeah.
was a few sleazy guys I said in here. I thought that other guy,
So
Daniel, was a sleazy guy too that worked at the firm.
yeah. We forgot to mention this, which is very important, is
Mhm,
that when the lawyer guy showed up in New York to give Margot the plane ticket, he also gives her a bottle of wine that she
mhm,
later peels the label back on and finds a note, which is from Victoria, and it's her first clue on the scavenger hunt that Victoria is leading her throughout this film.
mhm,
So she goes home from the pub to because she realizes that she needs to get wet because it's one of the clues, part of the
mhm,
first clue, turns on the bathtub and out pops another note,
mhm,
which she gets to read by making the paper wet,
mhm.
and it sets her off on what was the 2nd clue, like, "Leave no stone
So,
unturned," or something like that? Or was that the 3rd
the
one? I don't
step.
remember the order of
I
the
think it was
clues.
the was it the step?
I think it was the step, yeah.
Mhm,
So, I don't remember what the clue was, but it led to the 3rd step, which was notoriously Jackie always says, "Watch the 3rd
the
step,"
step.
so
And the 3rd step is loose on the stairs that they go up all the time to go up to the rooms. So she finds that. That's after the bath. We did the bath.
mhm.
Uh, do we meet the father, Alfie's father? She keeps saying this
Yeah.
stuff about Rosie.
Oh, yeah.
Rosie. There's a
Keeps referencing Rosie.
So Alfie keeps referencing Rosie, who we think is a person,
Mhm.
and so she thinks he has to go back to Rosie, maybe his girl or woman, wife, girlfriend.
Who knows?
Who knows what it is? We know that there's a Rosie, and who's this Rosie? We don't know at this point. So we just figure out that it's probably someone in his life.
Yeah. She's also trying to work while she's there.
Mhm,
And so we have some, interactions back with the office in New York and Mr. Calvo, and it becomes clear that her plan at this moment is to sell this manor house to the architectural firm,
mhm,
so they can do whatever they want with it, and she can get some money, and then she'll just be done with it after the 7 days. And
mhm.
he asked her for blueprints and stuff. He's wondering why she hasn't answered her emails. She's been asleep. She wakes up. He's FaceTimed her, but she's got the phone up to her ear. Like it's a very amusing little segment.
Yeah, FaceTime. Oops, wrong thing. As they come on phone, like, what is that I'm seeing? What? Oh, I'm in my pajamas still, which I don't care. I'm in my pajamas. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
But then
she
we
gets dressed. She gets dressed real quick so she could have this phone call on, which she
yeah
just throws a sweater over her pajamas, which I thought was funny because I would do something like that too.
yeah absolutely.
I have done that.
So she goes looking for Jackie, doesn't find Jackie,
Mhm,
finds Alfie out in the I don't know what you call it, place where he's building on the property where he's making the cider.
mhm,
And then because she blew a fuse because she's trying to like plug in her computer and plug in her thing to do her hair and
mhm.
everything. So he takes her down to the cellar
Where
and
they got
accidentally gets them locked in.
locked in. And he's like, Do you happen to have a bobby pin?" And she's like, "I was in the middle of doing my hair. I don't have nothing."
Yeah. So he
Nothing.
fixes the
Oh no, we're doing a thing. So he fixes the
fuse,
fuse.
and she's looking at all the boxes of Christmas decorations. Fixes the fuse.
Uh-huh. You're glitching, so
There's also another door in that room. Yeah, I know. I hate my internet. But there's also another door in that room, and he thinks it leads to a wine cellar maybe,
Yeah.
but we don't find out till later what that door actually leads to, which is pretty important to
Mhm,
resolving things with the manor.
mhm.
Um, and, she uses a hook
From
from
the
an ornament
ball, yeah, a ornament ball.
to, unhook the door and tells him that
We lost Adelia again.
that's how they do it in New York. This is driving me nuts.
It's driving me nuts too, but it's okay. We're gonna power through this. We're gonna do this. We have a few glitches. We're not perfect, and this is what happens. So they finally get out of the wines the cellar where he fixes the fuse, and we run into Alfie's father at this point, and we find
Thomas.
Thomas, the groundskeeper, which I love Thomas. His voice is just very soothing, and I was like, "Is he a voice actor?" I mean, he can read something for me to go to sleep. Like he can. What's that app that Matthew McConaughey's in? I'm like, he is just a smooth voice. But he's Thomas. Thomas is Alfie's father, and he is the groundskeeper. And he's looking for them because they're going to cut a tree, right? To cut down the tree.
Yeah, they're gonna go get a tree to be the Christmas tree for the manor.
Mhm,
And so, um, she puts on Victoria's wellies, her
mhm,
boots, and says they fit perfectly. And, Thomas leaves her with Alfie to go, cut down this tree while he goes and tends to the poinsettias.
Mm-hmm. Now he has a phrase that he always says that I thought was really cute. The Jubilee one.
Yeah. I don't remember exact humbly jumbly or something like that.
Something Jubilee.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cute. That he and that was his saying throughout the whole thing, that it's like a jolly, I don't know. He was
Yeah.
very cute old man.
Thomas was fun. A fun old man character. We
Mhm.
find out Thomas sort of grew up with
The
George,
family.
who is Margot's father. His father, because his father at the time was the groundskeeper for the manor, and
Mhm.
George would come visit Victoria, and yeah, so it's like a connection there to her
Mhm.
dad, who we found out died when she was young.
Mhm.
And they go and pick out a tree and cut it down and carry it back to the house, and
They're
then
they're
Alfie
they're
says,
they're nice little. They have a nice little their own little the Plumhill Manor Christmas tree farm, and there's like a few
yeah,
little. I thought it was cute.
it was cute.
Mhm.
And then Alfie, helps her put it on the stand in the whatever room that is, and then
Mhm.
says he has to get back to Rosie because she doesn't like it when he's gone for a long time.
So there we go with another Rosie reference, and not knowing like, oh, like, okay, go get back to Rosie, go do
Yep.
your thing.
Then here comes Jackie, who wants Margot to go get ready because it's the Carol of the Bells that night at the
Mhm.
church,
Mhm.
and the lady of the manor is always there,
Mhm.
and Victoria has plenty of stuff that she can wear to it,
Mhm.
and she ends up in this gorgeous coat.
Oh yeah, some of the fashion in this was really great. I was like, I wish I had something like that. That coat was amazing. There was
Yeah.
also a sweater. There was also the dress at the end. Amazing
Yep.
fashion.
Yep. And so Margot is looking around at the church and talking about how it's incredible it is that things like this were built, not in modern times when they didn't have CAD software and all the modern tools that you use to build things now.
Mhm.
And Jackie shows her to the stone family pew in the
Mhm.
front.
Mhm.
And everybody starts looking at Margot and she asks why. And Jackie says, well, it's because no one's been in this pew in a few years. And they're
Mhm.
so excited you're here. Then Jackie goes off to direct the choir, and Alfie shows up. And then Jackie comes right back out, and someone has a rash and isn't there,
Mhm.
and they need someone to be part of the Carol of the Bells, and so she asks Margot to do it, and uh, conversation is basically leads to Alfie's probably the better choice to do this, but Alfie says things like, your wrists don't look that strong and things like that, which makes Margot go, "Okay, I'll do it." So she goes into the back with Jackie, and then out the choir, I guess you could call it, comes
Mhm.
to do the Carol of the Bells with the bells. Thomas tells her, Thomas is also in this. Thomas tells her she only has one note to hit, but it's the most important one. And
That important note, you gotta hit it. Don't
yeah,
mess up.
so
That puts
Jackie
pressure.
is
That puts
that puts
pressure on her.
pressure. Yeah, it puts pressure on her. Jackie is directing the choir as they play Carol of the Bells with bells, and they're doing well. And then it's time for Margot's one, and she drops the bell.
Mhm. I thought that was just perfect.
It was great. And she is horrified, but then everybody stands up and gives them a standing ovation.
Yeah. Started by Alfie, who was like, "Oh,
Started
let
by
me not."
Alfie, yeah.
He's embarrassed. Let me do something. Make her feel better. You did good job. You dropped your bell,
Yeah.
which I thought was funny. And before this, though, didn't she find the third the step the stuff in the step that was before going to
Might
the
have found the stuff. Yeah, she
yeah
found the stuff in the before she went, yeah.
yeah. So the next clue, she finds it in the step, but she finds a box this time, and she opens the box and she sees a lot of letters, I guess, that were returned back to them, so that she calls, and this time she calls her mom and asks, did you leave an address whenever we moved? And the mother hadn't, so a lot of the letters didn't get to them. So that happened between then. That's why she wasn't ready when when Jackie came in and asked her.
Yeah.
Mhm. Why
Um,
you weren't dressed.
yeah, and I don't think Margot had any idea she was supposed to be dressed anyways, but
Uh-huh.
um after the bells, they're outside of the church and we meet this little girl, adorable little girl
Oh,
named Beatrice and her mother
adorable.
Cora, and Beatrice calls her the princess in the manor
Hmm.
and talks about the Christmas market and uh, just Christmas in general, and it's just a wonderful little scene with this little child actor.
Oh, she was adorable. She reminded me a little bit of Mae Whitman when she was little.
Yeah,
So she's like all excited, like, oh, like you're the princess, like you're in the big house and the princess and there's a ball. Do you have a ball there? And she's just so enthralled in meeting Margot. And I thought it was adorable. I was like, oh.
yeah. So we will see Beatrice again at the Christmas market. I
Hmm.
forget what was right after that though.
Did they do the gingerbread house?
The gingerbread's at the Christmas market. This
Hmm.
she finds at some point in time there's the she goes with Alfie somewhere.
They
They get back
walking
to the house.
they walking back at the house.
Yeah, but I don't remember where they were.
I'm drawing a blank too.
Anyways, at some point in time, they're walking back to the house and they come upon the lawyer who's
Hmm.
there to give her the financial accounts that
Hmm.
go along with the manor.
Hmm.
And they're in pretty rough shape.
Hmm.
Uh, Lots of debt attached to the manor. And yeah, uh, Alfie is unaware of how bad of shape the financial records of this house are, Jackie tells him.
Hmm.
But she feels like she's been saddled with a sinking ship.
Yep. There's just nothing she can do. I know she made some plans too. She made plans and she drew them out what she
Yeah.
wanted. And those got sent to her boss. Then we find out the boss had them changed because she was too invested in
Too modest for what
too
she
modest.
normally does.
Too modest for what because she's invested in this house now because it's now part of her family. And she's starting to care for the people in that are attached to this and in the town that, love this place and have that special attachment to it.
And so she is confirmed with her boss that they're on for plans for Thursday when he's over visiting the London office for a
Hmm.
walkthrough, which
Hmm.
she promptly forgets about as she gets into going to this Christmas market with Alfie and uh, making plans to have a Christmas party
Hmm.
at the house. And as she gets more invested into these clues, after she gets the accounts from she's supposed to go meet back up with Alfie,
Hmm.
and Alfie says to her, uh, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Not really." And he's trying to say that Victoria left no stone unturned
Hmm.
in the running of that place. And that's when she realizes that Victoria's left her a clue sitting underneath something. So she goes back into the house to try to find the next clue, finds
Hmm.
it on the bottom of the uh,
Chest things.
chest thing
Hmm.
that the letters had been in that was under the step.
Hmm.
And that one is about um, that was the final clue, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's another one
No,
that
no, that was the final clue about
about
a ball with no ball, the ball not in the
ball
house. Yeah, ball and no a ball not in a ballroom.
watched over by he who watches the port, which is
Hmm.
Mr. Wesley, who's the portrait on the wall by where they put the Christmas tree, who was Victoria's fiance, who was killed a couple of weeks before they were supposed to be married.
And she never got married after that.
Yeah. So they go to she goes to the Christmas market. There's Alfie selling cider. Thomas comes up, but before Thomas comes up, we meet Rosie, who is a sheep.
A very adorable sheep, by the way, that he rescued. Was it he rescued it?
Yeah, from the side of
Yeah,
the road.
he rescued her on the side of the road, and I thought she was so adorable. I was like, "There's Rosie." Now we find out who Rosie is. Another mystery is solved there. It's
Yeah.
just an animal that he
And
named Rosie.
Rosie was just in the nativity walk, I think you said.
Mm-hmm.
So she's supposed to be laying down, but she's just wandering around in the back of the stall where Thomas shows up and tells them to go have fun and that he'll pour the pints.
Mm-hmm.
And they go over to a stall where they're selling hand painted uh,
Ornaments.
ornament balls.
Mm-hmm.
And she says she's seen those on in Victoria's decorations and asks about the one of the arch. Did
Yeah.
he make that one? And nobody knows what this arch is.
Oh, you know.
And they're confused. Maybe do you mean the bridge? There's one that's painted of the manor house, and she wants to buy that for her mom. So she buys it for her mom. And then they walk over to where they're doing gingerbread houses with Beatrice. And she's so excited to see Margot. And she's talking to Margot about how her mom talks about the Christmas parties at Plumhill Manor all the time, but she's never gotten to go to one. And Margot says, well, we should have one then. And so
Which is this cute scene. So she gets all excited and tells her to go spread the word. She does.
she definitely does. Uh, and so they're back at the house, and well, before they go back to the house, that's where they basically just are walking through what an archway, which I thought
Mhm.
maybe was the archway in question at
Yeah.
first. Where they just basically say, all the puzzle pieces aren't fitting right, and Margot's like, I don't know that we should get involved, and um, they kiss, and then Alfie's there the next morning making her breakfast.
So I think he spent the night.
I think he did too,
Ooh.
especially when Jackie walks in and is like, "You're here early. I didn't know you were a morning person. How nice of you to come make Margot breakfast."
Which I love Jackie. She just comes in at the right moment, says the right
Yeah,
things to make us laugh.
but there's so much work to do if we're gonna have this party, Jackie says. So
Mm-hmm.
she enlists Alfie to go help get the Christmas decorations out of the cellar, and then they're outside putting into place a life-size nutcracker, which was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and here comes Mr. Calvo and members of the acquisitions teams from the London office.
Yep.
And Alfie is not happy. Yeah, I was like, this is going to screw everything up. I'm so glad it didn't.
Yeah. I was like that too. I'm like, no, go away, go away, go away. Get out of
Yeah.
there.
She introduces Alfie as the son of the groundskeeper or
Mm-hmm.
gardener, whatever she said. And he doesn't like that very much. And he walks off, and she shows them around, and they hand her blueprints and say they're going to have everything ready for her to sign the closing papers. And you can tell she's very reluctant at this point, but she doesn't know what else to do.
Yeah, well, the blueprints were changed. Also, they're not her. We find out they're not her ideas. They're Daniel's ideas because Daniel. That was one of the scenes. Daniel called to her and wants to
Yeah.
be a part of it. He wants to
Mm-hmm.
be a part of this big deal that she got going on. And I'm like, ooh, I don't like this guy. He's gonna be a snake and try to snake things away from her because she's a woman in a man's field in a man's uh world there, and he is trying to snake in on her territory where she's got this big thing, but he don't know what it is, and he wants to know because he needs to be in on it. So he
Yeah.
had the plans changed to what he wanted because Margot's was too close to
the
the
way the house actually was.
yeah, too close to the chest, the vest. That's what you say.
Yeah,
If she's invested in it a little.
yeah. And so she tosses the blueprints on a bench and follows them out.
She didn't look at them. So
She
she
didn't
at
look
this
at
point she didn't see what they were at that point. She just
Yeah,
was upset, like
yeah. So she follows them out and has a final conversation with Mr. Calvo, and then goes back to find Alfie staring at the blueprints. And he sucks about how they want to put a tennis courts where the orchard is, and turn the moat into a swimming pool, and build a 6-story hotel in
with the garden
somewhere in the
where
garden.
the garden is.
And she's like, I don't know any of that because I haven't even looked at those,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to do what I can to keep this place going. And they have Alfie's not happy, and I don't blame him because this has become his life, because we have learned that he was in finance in
Uh,
London,
mhm.
and then one day just gave it all up and came back and started making cider and helping out his dad.
Mhm.
And Victoria was always super kind to him.
Mhm.
And Jack, you can just tell Margot doesn't know what to do.
Yeah. And he gets mad at her like, "Oh, you're going to change this, but she didn't know about this." And he's like he said something about, "I'm sorry I don't fit into your puzzle piece," like.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
like
And
you already have your life all puzzled out, and I'm not a part, I'm not a part of it basically." And I'm like,
sorry, I'm not part of your blueprints.
yeah. I was a little like, "No, don't do
Yeah.
this."
So Margot's at the house that night, and she's trying to figure out this final clue,
Mhm.
because she just knows that it's important to figure out what Victoria was trying to tell her about this place.
Mhm.
And um, she's reading through it, and she goes back into the room with the Christmas tree, and she's looking at the ornaments, and she sees the one with the arch, and she rattles it, and there's something inside. And then she
Mhm.
looks up at Mr. Wesley and goes back. She opens up the ornament, and there's a key. Then
Mhm.
she goes around trying to open
Everything.
uh, everything
Everything. Where does this key lead to?
house
Let's
that has a
go.
lock on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we eventually end up back down in the cellar at that door,
That they had no clue
and it
what was behind
unlocks.
there.
Yeah, look what was behind there. And of course, they don't show us at that moment
Yes,
what is
she
behind there.
opens the door, we just get a we're like, "What is it?" Or tell me what it
Yeah.
is.
And then she goes the next day, at least it seems like it's the next day,
But it might be later
to
on.
the pub. Might be later on because she's done an awful lot of research as to what is behind that door by the time
Mhm.
that she goes to talk to Alfie. And I don't know if Victoria left her a note in there or something that had all the information. Who knows? They don't show us
Mhm.
that. But she goes to the bar, and there's the two trivia partners playing darts, and um, Nick's there, and he sees her, and Alfie's at the bar trying to figure out some numbers and stuff, and they, apologize to each other, and he's trying to figure out if cider tastings on the property can help raise money to wipe out
Yeah.
some of the debts. And
Mhm.
I thought that was really sweet.
That was. He's trying to find a solution so that they can try to keep the house,
Yeah,
and they both apologize at the same time. And
yeah.
then the guy's like, does that mean the party's back on?" And they're like, "Yes, and you're not getting out of helping."
Yeah, I thought that was great. And then she says, "There's something I want to show you, but it's at home." And he
Mhm.
says, "Did you say home?" And she's
Mhm.
like, "Come see." And she takes him to that door, and there's also Mr. Calvo and one of the guys from the acquisitions office in London. And they're like, "Why are we signing the paperwork down here?" And she opens the door, and there's the arch from
Arch
the
that
ornament.
from the ornament.
And it's a Norman arch from some
Mhm.
old castle that the manor was built out of the ruins of, or something,
Mhm.
completely preserved, which makes the building a grade 1 historical building.
Mhm.
And that means all its debts get wiped out so long as they opened it up to the public
Public.
certain times a year. And Mr. Calvo's like, well, we'll make sure the new owner knows that, and she's like, it's not for sale.
Nope. Not for sale, though it's going to me. I'm the owner.
Yeah. And Mr. Calvo, who has a thing of saying in this to her, I can't believe you pulled this off. Says it to her again. I can't believe you pulled this off.
And he always calls her a gem. You're not a stone, you're a gem. You're not a gem, you're a diamond. I was like, boy, you're buttering her up so much. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Mr. Calvo and the acquisitions guy leaves, and Margot and Alfie go back upstairs to talk to Jackie, and then Margot's mom shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to spend her last few days at the manor with her, and Margot's like, no, more like my first few days as the owner.
Yep.
And her mom gets all excited for her and thinks it's a
Oh
great
yeah,
step.
you have a new adventure, a new adventure. Her mom's into adventure. She's into doing all that. She's like, yeah, a new adventure, and she's so excited for her daughter.
And then they got to get ready for this party that night. And
the party of the ballroom that Beatrice wanted, so they got to get this together. And then we come back, and they're getting ready for this ball. And Alfie is picking up Beatrice to put on a little, I thought it was cute, a little bow on top of the tree. And she's all doing her little curtsies. She was so excited, this little girl. Thought she was adorable.
Margot comes in. Maria Menounos looks stunning in that dress.
Oh my god, that dress is amazing. I was like, my jaw dropped. Like, forget Alfie. I was like, whoa! I like that dress. Alfie looked pretty sharp too. I liked his little the outfit that he had on too. Yeah. I thought he was cute.
Yeah, he was. And then they have the party, and Jackie's doing the bagpipes. And there's
cracking up. I was like, that just fits. It just fits Jackie. She's playing the bagpipes now. Yeah. And the mother's there. We got the mother. We got the lawyer. The lawyer comes.
There. The band from the pub is there.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of other people are there. And
the pub patrons.
Everybody's just happy and excited. It's Christmas at Plumhill Manor again. And
the lawyer brings the papers over for her to sign. That was the last thing that she needed to do. Sign the papers.
Stationery.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Victoria's, but with her initials, because she's now the lady of the manor, and she'll need it. And
she uses that pen.
She uses that pen to sign the papers. And then we cut back at the end to Mr. Calvo in his office. He's got a Christmas card from England. He opens it up, and it's from Margot and Alfie and Rosie.
Rosie. One thing at the Christmas party though, Nick had his little mistletoe, and he put it near the lawyer and Jackie. And she made out with the lawyer, and they were like, "Woo, go Jackie!" I loved it. I thought this was cute. It was definitely something we needed to watch. It gave us a little fun for a little while, and I definitely recommend. You like cheesy Christmas movies? I do, and I know they're cheesy, and I will just bring on the cheese because I love it.
This one I will say is not as cheesy as it could have been. It could have been super cheesy.
It could have
way more dramatic. It wasn't. It was just nice and fun.
It was perfect.
It was a good one. I might not feel the same way about these other ones we're gonna end up watching. But this one was okay.
Well, there's one. Isn't there one stripping one with Chad Michael Murray?
We're gonna definitely do one for The Merry Gentleman starring Chad Michael Murray. It's on Netflix soon, where they put on a male strip review to save somebody's dance club, and that just looks so stupid.
You have no idea how happy I am to be making Adelia watch some of these shows with me.
Brandi's very happy about this.
Last year, I made her. You've never watched A Christmas Story, right? And I had you watch that for the first time, which is my favorite holiday movie that I watch every year. But these are the Hallmark Lifetime movie things that I like. I tend to gravitate toward them when they come on. So I now have
Yeah.
Adelia to bring along this road with me.
This stuff's more my sister's kind of thing. She'll put on the Hallmark channel and just leave it on all day, and like this is so not my thing. But I will watch these and I will enjoy them to the best of my ability, and we will come on here and we will review them. But this is the one for now. Not sure what one we're doing next. We gotta look at what days these come out
we
and when we.
I already DVR'd a few of them. I DVR'd a few already, so we got some lined up going.
Yeah,
We'll be back with more. I don't know
yeah.
which one
We
yet,
will.
but we will definitely be back with more.
Yeah, we will be back with more. In the meantime, Brandi, where can people find you?
Uh, Find me here on LGR Network, doing Happy's Place review with you. I do couples therapy with Justin, where uh, we watch a movie. I'll pick a movie out. It may not be what he likes. Maybe it's going to be something I like. Maybe he hasn't seen it, and vice versa. He picks out something I may not normally watch or like, and we give it a try, and then we review them and see. Most of the time, Justin's picks I'm not very keen of, but I give it a try. And same, he's not keen of some of the ones I did, but it's okay. We work it out. It's a
Yeah,
therapy session for us.
it
It,
leads
it,
to some funny discussions and moments.
it
Uh,
does.
so check out couples therapy. I'm not sure when the next one of those is coming up, but it'll be soon.
Mm.
You
But
can find me on this channel doing Rewatchers Council with Snark and Ferris. That's Thursdays 3 p.m. Pacific. Um, our Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch series. Brandy's going to be on at some point. We're going
some
to get
point.
Brandy on that too.
Yeah, she'll
And
drag me. We drag each other on things. I make her do stuff now because she brought me in here, so it's just fair.
yeah, it's fair. It's fair. And you can find me on the Highlights channel doing Starting 11 with Snark. That's usually Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific, but we will not be having Starting 11 this week because of the international break. We'll be back next week. Uh, week, couple days before Thanksgiving, we'll be doing Starting 11 again. So
Mhm.
that out. And you can always find me over on Blue Sky now too. I've quit Twitter. I'm not going back. So adeliachambo.bsky.social if you're interested. And you can find the channel on Blue Sky and Twitter and Instagram and all kinds of things. Links to those are in the description of this episode. You can also join us over on Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/LGR_network. If you want to give us a little bit of support, we'd really appreciate it. $3 a month gets you into our Discord. You can also make one-time donations if you'd rather just do that. There's higher tiers as well, so check it out. And until next time, everybody, we are out of here.